of the Christmas Moo. Far back in the forests of all lands, there live tiny elves called Christmas Moos. No one ever sees them because they are very, very shy. To anyone but another moo, they are terribly funny looking. They have no legs, just feet, and stand about as tall as a candy cane. You can't tell where their face leaves off and their body begins. And right below their eyes is the largest red nose you have ever seen. The Christmas Moo can do one thing: jump. He can jump. Yeah, you can jump. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. He can jump the tallest tree or the highest building. Many years ago, several moos were talking to Homer Moo, their leader. We're tired of just jumping around the forest, they explained. We would like to do something really important. But there's nothing to do here, Homer commented. Perhaps I'd better go outside the forest and look for some important job to do. Every moo agreed, so the next morning, Homer started leaping off through the edge of the forest. He was very frightened. He'd never had before left his home far, far away. While standing at the end of the forest trying to decide what to do, a brownie twice as tall as Homer came running down the path. He wore a green and brown suit rimmed with pointed triangles and cloth. His shoes turned up at his toes and his hat turned down at his nose. Gathering all his courage, Homer said, "Hi." "Hi yourself," the brownie replied, not looking up. Suddenly he stopped and said, "Good heavens and pretty stars, you're a moo." "That's right," Homer replied, turning shy red. "But moos don't come this far out into the forest," the brownie said. "No, we don't," Homer replied with a pleasant smile. "Well, it doesn't matter. I'm much too busy to talk about it. Can't you see I've got a lot of work to do?" The brownie held up a stack of papers and dropped half of them. "Can I help you?" Homer asked hopefully. "Oh, mercy me, no," the brownie replied. "This is very special work. Santa Claus's bookkeeper of good and bad children lost all his records. Brownies have been sent out to find the good children who deserve Christmas presents this year. You see these papers? They are all filled out. Too much to do. I can't stand here and talk. Must rush off." And with that, the brownie hurried down the path, leaving a trail of papers. Homer sat for a long time just thinking, and suddenly he had a wonderful idea. It was so good, he took a mighty leap and landed almost halfway across the forest. In a short time, he was back home. Quickly, all the moos in the forest gathered to hear about his adventure. As far as the eye could see, there were moos sitting and standing. It's hard to tell which with a moo. Homer told them all about the meeting, the brownie, and Santa Claus's problem. Then he explained his idea. When he finished, all the moos started jumping up and down with excitement. At last, they had an important job to do. The next few days were very busy. Moos kept running in and out of Homer's house and leaping off through the forest, and soon there weren't any moos left. In fact, no one saw a moo from that day on until Christmas Eve. It was just before dark on Christmas Eve when Homer Moo leaped onto the windowsill at Santa Claus's castle in the North Pole. Inside, he saw Santa Claus dressed in his bright red suit. His whiskers were carefully combed and his black boots shone with polish. He sat in a chair, sadly staring at the floor. All around his desk were piles of paper, just like those carried by the brownie in the forest. Another brownie was picking up each of the papers and reading them to Santa. Susan Beale. Under good or bad, it was marked maybe.
How did they choose that name?
Tommy Allen. Maybe. Melanie Margaret.
It does not say that.
Maybe.
It says Donna Joy.
They seem to be all marked maybe, the brownie remarked. I was afraid of that, Santa sighed sadly. We still don't know the good children who deserve Christmas presents. The brownies didn't do a very good job. Homer smiled to himself. This was what he thought would happen. Why not give all the children toys this year, the brownie asked. We don't have near enough to go around, Santa replied. There will be a lot of good children that won't have any Christmas at all if we do that. Homer then pushed open the window and jumped to the floor. "Excuse me, sir," he said, and blushed shy red. Santa looked up with surprise. "Well, by all the stars that guide me, if it isn't Homer Moo. What can I do for you, Homer?" "I'm here to help you, or rather the Moos are here to. That is, I represent the Moos, and we want to help," Homer blurted out. "That's very kind of you, Homer," Santa replied, "but I'm afraid it's too late for anyone to help." "But we can tell you who the good children are," said Homer. "Every night for the last 3 weeks, we have been sitting on windowsills watching boys and girls.
That's kind of creepy.
We know the children that go to bed without crying. We know the boys and girls that eat their food and help their parents. Moos all over the world are waiting tonight to help you deliver your presents."
Picture's even creepier.
Santa's face broke into a huge grin. He went running out the door, shouting to the brownies, "Load the sleigh! Hitch up the reindeer! The Moos have saved Christmas!" When everything was ready, Santa climbed onto the sleigh. Then, before Homer knew what was happening, Santa reached down and lifted him up onto the seat right beside him. "Tonight, Homer, you'll ride with me. And from this day on, every Moo will be known as a Christmas Moo, in charge of keeping track of good and bad children. So everyone will know that Moos are a part of Christmas. They'll wear a red and white cap like this." Santa then carefully placed a cap on Homer's head that was just like his, except much smaller. And ever since that day, Christmas Moos have been hiding on windowsills, watching children. On Christmas Eve, they help Santa deliver his presents to good boys and girls. And this is the story of how Santa Claus knows whether children have been good or bad all over the world.
Until they all lost their job to the shelf on the elf on the shelf.
Until the
Shelf on
to the shelf on the elf. And now there's a bunch of moos out there with no jobs. And you know what that does to
And a
their
bunch
mental
of-
health? It's not good.
And
Also
there's
the
also a bunch
economy.
of brownies that don't have jobs either because the Christmas moose.
No, they load the
It's
sleigh.
just an endless cycle.
Yeah, the brownies load the sleigh.
Okay, while we're talking about it, the story is also inherently classist.
And
It's
the
clearly elitist.
terrifying.
We're buying into the hegemony, like it's fine.
Wake up, America.
You just have to look at that one video from CDC about the elf on the shelf, and then it's like,
Wow, how things change.
How your mindset can change, right? Okay.